Okay, well, good morning, everybody. Thought we'd give you guys an update on our lives. What?
There you go.
So we're filming this on two cameras, so if it looks like I'm looking into another camera, I am, and vice versa for Shona. We wanted to give everybody that follows us and that we haven't been able to communicate with an update in our lives, and a few pretty awesome things we'd like to share with you guys, and at least we think, and give you an idea of where we're headed as urban traditionalists. And long story short, if you don't want to sit through the whole video, is that we are going to be moving to Princeton. We have been living in the Kelowna area. I've been living here for 35 plus years, on and off. I've had a few in and outs to Alberta and whatnot, but most of my life has been spent here in the Okanagan, and we are officially moving to Princeton. And I am going to be hired with Young Life of Canada, and I'll be working out at Rockridge Canyon, which is a Christian camp, as a full-time permanent head cook. And we're really excited about what God's doing, and it was a really amazing, miraculous circumstance that got us there. It was only by God. If I was to take any credit for this, other than the fact that we did what we were supposed to do, and we were ready when God gave us the call, we feel. And so, yeah, we're moving to Princeton. So we're going to be officially out of our place here, our little homestead that we made at the end of October. So we've got a month and a half to pack everything up. So
That's the short version.
that's the short version of it.
We're moving.
And we feel like it's the next evolution. It's the next phase of the way where we've pointed our arrow. Shona and I, if you don't know much of our journey, Shona and I got married 6 years ago, and we got married, I'll tell you that in a bit, but well, actually I can tell you now, we actually got married at Rockridge Canyon.
Which was a total God story in and of itself, that we ended up there for our wedding.
It's pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah, it was incredible.
And how we ended there, and now we're actually going to live there.
And that was the first time we'd ever been there, was our wedding. And the second time we'd ever been there was when this opportunity came up. So, pretty incredible.
I might switch your spots depending on which way the wind's blowing.
Well, I'd like to touch on what you said, that we were ready for the call, and what that means to us is that we did what we felt God was asking us to do, and that was to learn how to be self-sufficient, and to garden, and to learn how to homestead, and to learn
raise animals, harvest animals, yeah,
all of that, in order to have more of that homestead lifestyle. And then that journey progressed into readying ourselves, in our minds and our physical bodies. And the last year for Rhett has been a huge journey of just discipline and physical fitness, and overcoming just mind and heart challenges. And for me as well, with going back to school, I went back to school and pursued counseling, and that was a huge hurdle for me. But those were things that we really felt were just big areas of our life that we were ignoring, and God was calling us back to, telling us to, hey, get these in line. And through that journey, that's why we feel like we were ready for the call, is not because we were pointing our arrow at Rockridge or pointing our arrow at any specific vision of what that looked like, but we were trying to point our arrow at
God had put
correcting ourselves.
God had put a vision on our heart.
Yeah.
And basically over the last year, multiple years, because we've been progressing. It's, you point your arrow in a certain direction, and then you refine that as you get closer and closer, and it becomes more apparent and more obvious what you're supposed to do. And it's been a journey of doing hard things.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's been very hard.
You know, we've had to push through just a lot of hard things over the last, specifically year. I mean, our marriage has been pretty tough, but
the last year to 6 months were pretty gnarly.
And not necessarily, I feel like we got closer in our marriage. And anyways, it's been this like crazy progress towards, it just seems like it keeps getting better and better. Like we started in our 1-bedroom apartment, and I mean, I started in my apartment before I even met Shona. You know, I was prepping and learning about the economy and learning about self-sufficiency, and it's just this journey that God put on my heart. You know, He put this like burden for me to do this thing that I've always wanted to do. And as that grew, and as my Christianity and my faith grew, He started to teach me about things that I love doing, like cooking and the outdoors and all of these things, to throw myself into them and to do them with discipline.
Yeah.
And that sort of, I feel like that came to a sort of a head. Over, like we've disappeared for basically the last year. Like many of you haven't seen us. And we've been just grinding every day, doing hard stuff. Everything that comes up that we don't want to do, we do it. Like we do it intentionally. We've been following guys like, well, I have specifically just mentors, you know, guys that are speaking truth. Jordan Peterson, you know, like him or not, Andrew Tate, you know, for the men out there, like God has put a heart on me for mentoring. You know, I want to teach people the things that we've learned here. Like you're looking at our backyard that was non-existent 2 years ago.
It was dead grass.
It was just dead grass. Like we create things. And that's what God has shown us, that He can like do amazing things through His creation. And it's given us a lot of meaning in our life and a lot of purpose, and we don't need a lot of the things that we thought we needed in this world. And there's been a lot of cutting away and a lot of breaking away of things, and it's been fantastic. And we want to share it with people. And God has shown up in a miraculous way in our lives. Yeah. It's really like we're
still trying to wrap our heads around it, really.
We're trying to like figure out what like living by faith means. And you know, He's called us to give up everything here and move to Princeton to go and work at this amazing place. There's the only words that I can describe it are just magnificent. Like it's just breathtaking, awe-inspiring. It's a place of wonder and encounter, and people experience Jesus there, and it's wonderful. And we get to go and be a part of that. And He picked us up out of what we were doing, and He just brought us there. It's just like this magical thing. It's hard not to get emotional.
Do you want to tell a little bit of that story, or do you want to how it happened?
Yeah, so I mean, I was drywalling. I've been drywalling for the last 13 years. I have a small business, and it's been good, you know. Like it's allowed us to be able to do. We have our challenges, but it's allowed us to have the lifestyle that we want here. And but it was taking a toll on me spiritually, emotionally. It was part of the grinding part that I had to like suck up, you know, that like even when I didn't want to drywall, I had to go do it. I still had to go to the gym in the morning, you know, like my days just got bigger. Yeah. But it also like started to show me where I wasn't taking control of my life, and my life was controlling me. And I only get one shot at this life, and I decided that I was gonna like get really focused about what I want and where I want to go. And for the last year, I started like playing basketball really heavy. I started cooking really hard, and I started really just putting all my effort into making this place beautiful. And on top of doing drywall. And a few months ago, God spoke to me in my truck, and He told me that He had a new place for us. And we managed to meet some wonderful people, and He brought us through this experience that was amazing. And we thought that we were destined to be there, and it was beyond our comprehension. And we kept grinding and grinding, and we're holding out for faith. We were declaring it to friends of ours. Friends of ours thought we were insane, we were crazy, and we just knew that God had spoken to us, and that we were meant to carry out a vision, yeah. And we saw it, and that is to like mentor and to
co-labor with
creation. Absolutely, co-labor with creation.
And teach people how to do that, and to find God in the middle of it, to like recreate Eden, if you will, that original design, to like co-labor with Christ in creation and to be present with Him.
It sounds very cultish, but it's
it can, yeah, depending
it's very on how relational, and it's there's some aspects of it that I've found through discipline and through presence, that God's presence is only found in the present. And when you're present in the moment, it's tough to miss the mark. When you're doing what you're supposed to do, even though you don't want to do it, that's where God's presence is found. And sometimes it's in hard things, and sometimes it's in really awesome things. We'll get to that later. I basically had come to the end of myself with regards to work, and I had a bunch of jobs fall through. And I just cried out to God, and I just had enough. I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I don't know how to battle harder, like I'm fighting for what we feel you're doing. And as I was having that conversation, my phone was ringing, and a friend of ours reached out and happened to be in a place where we got married, Rockridge Canyon, and she said to us that they're looking for a chef for 3 weeks. It was a paid position. And I was like, they were in need of a miracle, and I was like, I'll be there tomorrow. And I knew, like, it just was like one of these moments where God just answered my prayer. I cried out to Him, and he showed me the answer. And I got to go there and work some amazing people and experience this place, and I met some just incredible, incredible people. And it just feels like it's a place where I get to be myself. And we get to bring all of our skills and all of our love for God and service and all of that stuff to this place. And so they've offered me a full-time permanent position. And we're just going to go there and give ourselves to this place. And we're going to hopefully do everything that we know how to do in love and grace, and bring our version and our level of excellence and God's presence to Rockridge Canyon. And we're so excited. It really is like unbelievable. If you just look it up online, you'll see. Looks like my camera cut out. I'm going to just reset that.
It really did take us by surprise too, like 6 weeks ago, this wasn't even on our radar, right? Like in August, just before August, it was life is normal, and everything was just kind of trucking along as usual. And then, like Rhett said, he had a couple jobs lined up, and they all fell through, and it was a bit of a panic moment. And then, like, Jesus literally called, using the term literally there. And it was like, you have to go. Like, you just have to go. Like, and we thought maybe it would just be a 3-week thing. We thought maybe it would, like, lead to something else. But it never in our wildest dreams did we think it would lead to a full-time position at Rockridge, carrying out what we believe what God is calling us to do in Princeton. And Princeton in and of itself has always kind of held, like, a special place for me and us. And we've really gravitated towards small towns in general. And Princeton's really been hurting ever since the flood in 2021, and we really want to see God thrive in that town. Like, we really want to see Him be present in that town with the people there, and we're just willing to do what God is calling us to do. Life is short, and I said to Rhett, when kind of a couple months ago when we thought God was calling us elsewhere, I said, I would rather do it and fail than not do it and miss out on what could have been. And I think when you go through hard things in life, and when you go through that self-sacrifice, it really shows you what makes life worthwhile and what has meaning. And I feel that about this. I'm like, I would rather go and try and have an adventure and say we tried and we did it than to play it safe and be like, yeah, well, we'll make it happen when we can make it happen, or when it'll work for us, you know, as opposed to like just risking. Like, it is, there's a lot of risk in us doing this, but it's risk we're willing to take, you know.
The other thing that we have to mention here is that God showed up in a really, not just in just, you know, picking up the phone and getting us out there, but like at the end of the 3.5 week contract, the Holy Spirit showed up.
Yeah.
And I encountered something, experienced something that I've shared with some of you, but I've never experienced anything like it. The Holy Spirit sort of invaded my body, is the best way that I can describe it, and kind of took me over for about 4 or 5 days. And it felt like this just supernatural experience where I was driving in warp drive in a spaceship with no map, and was just driving. It was just insane. It was, my body couldn't contain it, and it was just a really like meaningful and powerful experience with the Lord. And he showed me some things about presence, his presence in the present, doing hard things. There was a lot of revelation around the cross and the actual burden and the weight that sin is, that we actually don't understand the depth of how deep God's love is for us, as well as how deep our sin is. That's for another time though, but there's been some really amazing experiences, and we feel like God is like actually bringing fire and revival. I believe that, I'll say that, you know, and I don't like that word revival, but I believe he's bringing his Spirit, and he's bringing whatever that looks like to Princeton, and he wants to see the phone keeps cutting out. Might have to go up on Shona's phone, but you know that he wants to see lives healed, and he wants to see his presence revealed. And I think that there's enough hunger in that place that it's possible. We experienced a few really amazing things in that city. One of them, we got to feed a bunch of people, and just the desire that people had for community and to like share God's goodness and his blessing was just, it was just awesome. It was just awesome to experience, and we just want to bring more of that however we can. And I just want to be an open vessel for God, and we're basically I'm selling all my drywall tools. I'm selling everything that we have other than what we need for the bush, and we're moving. We're taking our chickens. We're going to hopefully start a little farm out there, a little farm to table thing. So it's awesome. We're really excited, and we're glad to share this with you guys. Hopefully you've been able to sit through this all.
And maybe we will try and do more updates and such as time goes on and what have you. But it's a really big announcement, and it took us by surprise. And you know, Rhett's actually packing up the truck and pulling out today to go back up to Rockridge, and he might come home on a weekend or two between now and moving. But he starts his full-time job Monday. So I'll still be in Kelowna, kind of wrapping things up, and we just knew that we weren't going to have the opportunity to sit down with everyone that, you know, we love and hold close to tell them. So this is kind of our way to
let everyone know what's going on. Yeah, so we will definitely keep you up to date. We're gonna do some video logging out there, some cool stuff. There's going to be lots of use of the chainsaws and lots of cooking videos. I'm really excited to see what God's got in store for the cooking side of it. They've got a 4-star hotel up there. We're excited to have all of our friends come up and visit and see the place and spread the word and let people know that this place is available, and that God's presence is, you know, he's there. You know, he's working, and that you can come there and experience that. We're really excited about it all. So
we are excited.
Anyways, we should cut the video.
We should maybe wrap it up. If you have questions, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Leave a comment or call us or text us or whatever. We'd love to chat and share more if you have more questions. We obviously just skimmed over everything, but if you want to know details, we'd love to share that too. So
cool.
Yeah. All right. We're out of here.
See you guys.